welcome back. We are back for Summer House Martha's Vineyard Ep.5. This one's probably the most tame episode, even though it was still a little bit of drama sprinkled in. But this one was probably the most lighthearted episode. Not too much craziness going on, and we know the craziness is coming next week. But if you are new here, please drop a comment. Please thumbs up the video. Please subscribe. That's number one. Please subscribe. But definitely thumbs up the video, drop the comments, let me know what y'all's thoughts are down below, and we are gonna get into it. Let's go. All right, so we get back from the cliffhanger, which is them at the restaurant and Jasmine getting emotional, and she pretty much says that sometimes she doesn't want to deal with the shit that everybody else got going on and wishes that people could figure it out on their own. And not everything is an underhanded move, basically stating, I didn't not tell you about Mariah because I wanted you to be upset or it sprung up upon you and have you caught off guard. I just did it because at this point, like, I just don't feel like dealing with your bullshit. And I see where she's coming from with that. But she says also on top of it, she's worried about Silas's deployment. While all this is going on, Amir and Jordan, they're still at the bar. They're stalling. They're over there taking shots at the bar now. Bria is claiming that she was disrespected, and if she feels like she's disrespected and she feels uncomfortable, then she feels like that is what it is and they should respect it. And Jasmine's like, whatever, okay. Preston then says, what if it was the same thing about Phil? Like, what if he said no when everybody else said yes? And Bria says that she would have never let Phil come in because he told her personally, talking about Preston told her personally what his issue was with Phil. And if Phil did what Mariah did, it would be a different story. Which, as we all know, Mariah didn't do nearly anything. She barely did anything. And Summer did way worse to Bria than Mariah did. And she has no issue with Summer being in the house. And Phil offended half of the house. So it's not the same. Like, she can't sit here and put two and two together because it's a completely different story. But Preston says that he don't think so. He don't think that she would have did it. I don't think she would have did it either. And he says because his name wasn't even brought up at all. But Bria is talking about, so who you calling out right now? Basically feeling offended, saying that he might be possibly calling her out. And Jasmine said he ain't calling nobody out. Like, that's just what it is. And Bria's sitting there talking about nobody respects how she feels and had Preston's best interest at heart. And then she starts saying, don't fucking fuck with me. Preston's like, ain't nobody scared of you. I'm glad he's saying it. Because Bria, this whole scene, has been trying to act tough, act like she's so hard, and that's why people want to hit you, because of the way you act and the way your mouth is. And she's raising her voice, and Preston's telling her, stop raising your voice. But Noelle ends up pulling Bria away. Nick is over there telling her as well to stop screaming, because it's weird. Like, you out here screaming, we in public. Like, that would have been me. I can't stand people that make a scene in public, and especially if you're around me, because I get embarrassed easily, and that would have embarrassed me too. And you can tell that's where Nick was coming from. But Jordan and Amir, they finally show back up with the shots, confused because they didn't see what just happened. But they ended up taking shots to head back home. So in the car ride back home, Preston's pretty much saying that Bria is impossible, a.k.a. she is insufferable, as we've been saying the whole season, as we said all of last season. Because her hurt has to be worse than everybody else's. And it's true. Bria feels like if she feels a certain way, it has to trump everybody else's feeling. So Bria is childish. She's immature. I really hope she doesn't come back if they do another season. Bria is irritating. I can't stand watching her on the TV. But they get back home, and Bria's in the car bitching about Jasmine still to Amir, Noelle, and Alex. She gets out the car and pretty much tells them like she's going to be silent. And if they don't speak up, she's going to go home. I'm like, please don't speak up. Let her go home. Like, that's literally where I was at. But she slams the door. And Amir and Noelle and Alex are like, and Amir's like, she does this every single time she's drunk. I'm like, exactly. But while she's coming in the house, throwing a little tantrum, low key, Milo is upstairs tearing the shit up. Like, he's in there grabbing stuff off her desk, like some takeout boxes. He's in there in the bathroom, fucking with the toilet tissue. Nick tells Bria, because he can hear Milo up there acting a fool, telling Bria that the dog is crying for you. That's what he said. The dog is crying for you. She goes upstairs talking about she don't care, screaming that she's a fucking, I think she said a drag queen hoe or whatever the fuck she said. I don't know what she said. But Jasmine and Shanice, They're in a room, and Jasmine's pretty much saying she wants to acknowledge her part in the Shanice stalker situation last summer, and she apologized. Again, Jasmine is taking accountability, and she's apologizing for where she might have possibly inflicted some type of harm, not physical, but you know. And Shanice said she appreciated it, and then of course Shanice starts crying again. She's drunk, so she's crying about getting fired from her job. She's crying about how she had to pay for a lawyer. A lot of shit going on that she's trying to figure out. I understand it, I guess, but Nick ends up going and addressing Bria about her snapping on him when he literally just told her the dog was crying for her. And she said that she thought that he called her a hoe and told her to stop crying. Nick is dumbfounded because he didn't say none of that. Like, he didn't say any of that. This is Bria being Bria. But Summer sits down with Bria to tell her she's the most fun, calm human being she's ever met. I said, where? Because Bria is none of that. None of that. But Nick gets ready to get up because he's sitting there while they're having this conversation. And Bria tells him to sit the fuck down because he isn't present for a lot of shit that goes on in the house. And tells him to come take a nap with her upstairs in her bed. Bria's a weirdo. She was drunk. This is clear she was drunk. But then Alex comes down too, and she then offers it to him as well. And he's like, that sounds like some freaky shit. And Nick is saying like he got a girlfriend back at home, and he can't be anybody else's sleep support. Smart, because that does not look good. But they ended up heading off to bed. The next morning, everybody's getting up for the day. They're going to play basketball. Shanice and Bria, they're in the kitchen talking about last night. Bria then asks if Shanice is still mad at Alex. And as she's asking this, Alex is coming downstairs. And he's telling them good morning and whatnot. Shanice is sitting there cooking eggs, and she apologizes for telling him that she hates him. They move on from that. Jasmine then lets Bria know that Mariah will be at the festivities. Keep this in mind. She lets Bria know that Mariah will be at the festivities, but she will not be staying at the house. She'll be staying somewhere else. I want to make that a point because she brought that to her attention, and she said it just as I did. She will be at the festivities, but she will not be staying here. So when she shows up to the festivities and not stay the night at the house, Bria, you better not act a fool, because if you do, I'm going to wear you out on this recap. But Bria says that she's fine, and she said that too. That's fine. You said it on TV. That's fine. So if you act a fool, you get worn out. But Jasmine said at the end of the day, Bria showed up for Silas's farewell whenever he was getting deployed to go back. And she said she feels like she has some type, or at least she feels like she has to have some type of respect for how she's feeling as a friend, because she's showing her that she actually cares about her and her husband. I guess, Jasmine, I guess. But they head out to go hoop at the clubhouse. Alex and Shanice, we find out both of them play basketball, have a history. Alex played in high school. Shanice played in high school and in college. Both of them look like they definitely were pretty decent. Preston and Bria, they're sitting down as everybody else is playing. And they're pretty much having their conversation, squashing everything. Preston pretty much lets her know that he doesn't want her to feel like he's not appreciative of her coming to him and telling him that Phil might be coming. And Bria said, like, you were right to feel the way that you do. And she wants them to have a conversation on FaceTime. Preston is open to it. They hug and exchange I love yous. I want to mention the difference between Preston's maturity and Bria's. Preston is open to having a conversation with somebody who's made him feel uncomfortable. Bria can't have a conversation with Mariah because Mariah slightly nudged her shit into her. Like, she didn't do nothing to this girl. But Preston's man enough to have a conversation and grown enough to have a conversation with somebody over some possible disagreements. That's what grown adults are supposed to do, but Bria can't do that. But Noelle ends up throwing up in the bathroom after playing the game. I don't know if she was sick. I don't know if she's not used to doing all that physical activity, but she was throwing up. Jasmine is showing. Like, what she was wearing while they was playing basketball, if they didn't know that she was pregnant then, they should have known there. Because the way she was, you could tell she was pregnant. But they get back to the house. Shanice ends up twisting her ankle playing basketball. So she's sitting there icing it, and she's going to stay at the house tonight while everybody else is going out for the night except for Noelle, because Noelle is staying there because she's still not feeling well. So everybody heads out. Bria brought Milo to the club. Why are you bringing a dog to the club expecting the dog to come in? Because security said no dogs. And Bria and Milo go sit in the car to talk to Simon while everybody else is in the club. Bria's talking about how she hasn't seen Simon in a month. He doesn't have many friends out there in Germany, so when she's not there, it takes a toll on him. It takes a toll on their relationship because she's usually there doing the wifely things where she's basically cooking and cleaning for him and all that stuff, and kind of being like, I guess, emotional support because he doesn't have too many friends out there. So that takes a toll on him, which then takes a toll on them. So they ended up heading back to the house the next morning. Amir's up making breakfast for everybody, and Amir's got a rodeo day set up for them, which is cool. I like this scene. But everybody else is getting dressed for the occasion to head out. And Amir ends up heading off before them to get everything set up with the lady. But Preston is pretty much open to hearing Phil out. And he pretty much said something which I agree on when it comes to people expecting other people to change. He said he can't expect him to change if he doesn't give him the chance to at least state his piece, hear what he's got to say, and see if there's possibility that he could be changing and that there could be a possibility of them possibly moving forward as friends, cordial, whatever. You got to give people the chance to at least show you that they're trying to change if you care. Me, if you show me enough the first time that I don't want to fool with you, I don't care. But if it's nothing too deep, if it might be a miscommunication, if it could be something that I feel could be salvaged, I would hear you out. So in this situation, I see why Preston's giving him the time of the day. But Bria gets him on FaceTime. Phil is sounding a lot more level-headed than he did all of last season. He said that he was drunk last time. He said there's no excuse for it. He did take accountability for it. But he said that's my explanation as to why everything transpired the way it did. And that could be true because a lot of people do act up when they are on that liquid courage. And Preston says that you were so amped up calling people soft, zesty, and what else did he say? Soft, zesty, and sus. That was triggering to him. Obviously, it was triggering to him because he's gay. And that's descriptions for gay men, or at least men that could be gay or appear to be gay. So that was triggering to him. He brings that up to him. Phil said that that was not his intention to hurt anybody. And he's been in therapy the last year and a half, and he's coming to him genuinely apologizing. And Preston accepted. And I felt like it was genuine. It did seem like a genuine apology. He owned up for where he made Preston feel bad, and he owned up to it. And it seemed like they were open to possibly moving forward as friends. And Phil pretty much tells Preston too that he hopes low key that he can relay the message to the rest of the crew. How far it gets to some of them, it's not. I don't see anything going over with Jordan. We already know how Jordan is. Alex, I could see Alex possibly being open to hearing it. Nick probably. Amir, I don't know, because them two almost got into it physically. But Amir is down at the barn, like I said, getting everything together. He's being shown around the barn by the owner, and everybody else arrives as that's happening. So Amir says that he's had the opportunity to either play football or horseback ride growing up, and he chose to ride horses. So Summer's talking about how she's had experience, this double entendre, saying that she's had experience riding horses and stallions. You know what she's saying by that. I don't need to break it down, but you know. But they get on the horses, they go riding around. It seemed like it was pretty cool. Jordan, we find out, has rode horses pretty seriously growing up. They showed a clip of her as a child. So that's nothing new to her. They then head outside after doing that to go play a game. And Shanice steps to the side to speak to a recruiter because she's been thinking about this job and she really wants it. So she's talking to the recruiter, pretty much letting him know if she's interested. If the position becomes available, please consider me. And we know she needs that job, so hopefully she got it. But they start picking teams for the games. They play a certain amount of games, a little different ones that seemed fun. And Amir's team won. So they did that. They all head back home. Everybody had fun. In the car, Preston ends up reading a text from Jasmine stating that she has a guest coming for dinner and everybody is down. Bria's in the car, and she's obviously thinking it's Mariah, talking about if Bria pulls a fast one on her, she's an op. Again, like I said earlier, if this guest was to be Mariah, you can't be mad at Jasmine because she told you what was happening. She's coming to the festivities. Festivities means when everybody is involved, there's a party-like atmosphere. She's going to be invited. And you told Jasmine that is fine. So why are you mad? Why are you mad? But they get back to the house. They start cleaning because they're going to have the Apollo night later on, which is, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than what it was, but it wasn't. But whatever. Everybody's trying to figure out who this guest is that's going to be at the house tonight. We'll get to it. Amir is on the phone with Natalie, his girlfriend, trying to have a conversation with her. You can clearly see she got some type of underlying issue that she just did not address. Amir was catching it, but he didn't even address it. I'm like, if that's how they are in a relationship, it's not going to work because they have no open line of communication. Amir's girlfriend seems very immature. Like, she got an issue, address it. And then Amir being Amir, you know she got the issue because you picked up on the fact that she was off. Like, the way she was acting, was her vibe was just weird. And he ain't say nothing. So you just allowing her to just be that nasty, weird energy. Like, and you putting up with it for right now, which means low key it's probably not going to happen in the future. But they don't look like they're going to last if you ask me, but we'll see. But the girls and Nick, they're outside by the pool. Bria is asking Noelle and Summer how they're doing about their situation with Alex. Noelle says she was caught off guard that Summer and Alex had some past dealings going on because Summer never told her how deep their connection was. Summer thought that she did. And Bria is sitting there interjecting, saying, like, why you didn't just tell her that you was sleeping with him? Which is true. That's a good question. Why didn't you tell her that? Because if you would have told her that, Noelle probably, I would have said Noelle probably wouldn't have. Yeah, Noelle probably wouldn't have pursued it. I think she wouldn't have, but who knows? But Summer says that she didn't know if she liked him or not like that. That's the reason as to why she didn't tell Noelle, because she had never met him before. Which then again, you knew she was coming to the house this summer and you knew that he was going to be there. So that probably would have been the best time to tell her. But Bria and Summer got some low-key animosity still. Summer said that it was not her intention to set her up to look stupid. And I remember somebody in my comments said it, but it didn't cross my mind in the moment when Summer was having that conversation with Noelle outside with Jasmine before she had that conversation with Alex. And she was telling her, go ahead and tell him how you feeling. But when you think about it now, she looked like she was definitely trying to set Noelle up to embarrass herself. But that's what she's claiming. That's not her intentions. I don't believe it, but whatever. She said maybe she should have let her know that he's been inside of her. She got very graphic, pretty much letting her know that she got Alex to that point. And when I say that point, you know what I'm talking about. Numerous times. And everybody's sitting there looking like, we need to know all of that. You could have just said that y'all done had sex before. But Summer gets upset and storms off. As she's doing that, Noelle is pretty much talking in her confessional, saying that she's never seen this side of Summer before, and it's tough supporting a friend when you don't know what they're going through. Which is true, because Summer likes to storm off and not really talk about it or why she's storming off. But Noelle fills Jasmine in because she's inside the house now. Jasmine saying that Summer always feels like everybody's feeling like she's in the wrong in every situation, which I can see that because 9 times out of 10 she is, but I can see where she's coming from in regards to that, because she always is on the other end of the situation. She's always the one that is seemingly the target for the aggression, even though sometimes and most times she is. But Amir comes down as they're talking. He's sitting here eating, but he's sitting here listening, like he's eavesdropping. And they looking at him like, what the fuck are you looking at? But Summer comes down and Summer pulls Noelle off to go have a chat. And Amir is looking dumbfounded for real, like eyes wide open, like what the fuck is going on? Asking Jasmine what happened, and Jasmine fills him in. But Noelle said that if Summer feels like she got attacked while they were out there, she apologizes. And Summer says, like with Bria, there's no change in her mind. She always on this rah-rah energy time, which is true. Noelle said that she's glad that Summer walked off and was mature enough to walk off, de-escalating the situation before it ended up getting to the point where them hands was brought into it. And Summer said, that's why I did it, because the way Bria is acting with that don't come for me ass energy, like it's going to happen. And they both started laughing. And I'm like, yeah, because the way Bria be talking, you be wanting to hit her. And then like when people do hit you or put their hands on you, you want to get upset. Like you literally push people to the point where they feel like they have to do that. But they started laughing. They deaded all that issue that they possibly could have had. But they head off to get ready for dinner. They start getting the food situated and they sit down. Jasmine tells them that she wants to make a toast to inform them that the guest had already been there, aka she's pregnant. They all was acting, the majority of them was acting like they didn't know what was going on. Alex said, I know what's coming. I feel like everybody knew except for Amir, which we then found out Amir was the only person that did not know that she was pregnant. But Jasmine lets her know that she's pregnant. She says she was tired of sucking in. They do a cheers to Jasmine. She informs him that she's having a boy. She's also in her second trimester, and that's why she didn't get on that horse. Like a lot of things is starting to make even more sense as to why she was doing what she was doing. But she showed them how she was sucking in too. I was like, how was she really sucking in? Because I could tell the whole time, but she showed them how she was sucking in, and when she sucked in, it like sucked in too. So they always fascinated by that. Everybody knew that she was pregnant because her boobs have definitely gotten bigger. She's talking too about how Silas had cried when he found out that she was pregnant. And she says that she has to give birth and take a picture of it to show them wherever he's stationed at for him to come back to go see the baby. So Jordan is saying that she's sad that Silas can't be there for Jasmine's first pregnancy and his first pregnancy experience. And then she says, I guess, I believe it's his first. And this time, I'm not trying to be messy, but she was being messy when she was saying it. But Noelle ends up praying on Jasmine with the group. Jasmine looked to be getting emotional, but they ended up getting ready for the Apollo night afterwards. Noelle's hosting it. Everybody has some type of performance that they're going to do. Preston is the judge. We're going to skim through this because it really wasn't much to really talk about. But Summer, Noelle, and Shanice, they perform a little thing together. Jordan was acting as if she was Nick. Nick was acting as if he was Jordan. Jasmine was rapping. Alex was singing. Bria was doing gymnastics with Milo. And Amir does some poetry. And Preston ends up choosing Amir as the winner. Next week, this is what looks good. Next week, it looks good because the significant others are finally coming. So that means Simon going to be there. Natalie going to be there, which we see Natalie and Jordan might have some run-ins. Mariah comes. I'm excited about that. And Summer is snapping. She going off, throwing shit. So we're going to figure it out. We're going to see what's going to happen. Next week looks like it's going to be a lot better than this episode. But that's it. That's all I got for y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all's thoughts are down below. What y'all thoughts were on the episode. What y'all looking forward to next week. And I will see y'all then. Peace.